Thank you, John. I am Jan Vermeulen, and I wanted to talk to you today about some exciting new innovations that will bring the opportunity to brine inject to the small and medium processor. But before we get to that, let's spend a few minutes talking about brine injection. What exactly is brine? Brine is a mixture of water, salt, spices or herbs, and other ingredients. For example, phosphate or starch, or plant protein or meat protein, or ascorbic acids or spice and aromas. For a good product, it is important that all brine ingredients are total mixed, without any rest, which can cause settling of the ingredients. In the meat, you need a smooth distribution of brine to cure evenly and provide attractive coloring and taste. The brine and the distribution of the brine into the meat is always the starting point for a high quality end product. Sometimes during the injection process there could be tiny parts of bones or skin that can get into the brine. These need to be filtered out, otherwise you can get blockage in the needles. We'll talk about solutions that do that a little later in the webinar. But now that we understand brine, let's take a look at some of the benefits from brine injection. The injection of brine into different food products provides some very real benefits while providing more profit for you, as the processor will benefit from even salt distribution. This allows for more homogeneous biochemical reactions, engaging taste, color, texture, and more pleasing mouthfeel. Better water binding, which means higher weight and better yield, which means more money for your product. And a longer shelf life. Preservatives are equally distributed in the product, extending the shelf life compared to just surface treatments. Your customers will appreciate better cooking and frying, reduces product shrinking during cooking, which has a positive influence on the final yield. More tender product. If product is juicier, then it's more tender and better tasting. Enrichment of injected products. Remember our earlier discussion on brine. Proper distribution of brine gives you a more even overall color and more consistent flavor. Enhanced flavor. The biochemical reaction between the brine and the meat enhances flavor throughout the meat, not just on the surface. And remember we were mentioning earlier, the longer the shelf life, customers will appreciate that as well. Now that we have highlighted the benefits of injection, let's talk about some of the different applications. They include pork products like a pork loin, a tenderloin or ham. Poultry, for example chicken breasts, legs and even whole birds. Certain cuts of beef benefit greatly from injection, for example to produce pastrami or corned beef. And of course, fish and other seafood, including salmon, shrimp and scallops. From land or from sea, with or without bones, injection can benefit your product. Now with all the benefits and all the different possible applications, why doesn't everyone inject? The biggest reasons are that up until now, injection had some issues. Lower cost solutions were plugged with insufficient brine distribution and differences in accuracy, resulting in inconsistent yield and inconsistent product quality. Not something anyone wants. Most injectors have high operating cost, partially due to complex systems that can be difficult to operate and hard to understand, and the reality of very large quantities of residual brine when the production run is finished. This also compounds the sanitation process, especially if the equipment was not designed with hygiene in mind. Unless you have scale, injectors have been a fairly big investment. They require a lot of know-how and can be difficult to maintain, clean and keep running for facilities without complete maintenance shops. JBT Schröeder has changed all that with the IMAX ECOline series of injectors, an all-round injector for low and mid-range processing needs within the fish, meat and poultry industry. The IMAX ECOline is a versatile and flexible range of injectors which are suitable for injecting various fish, pork, beef or poultry cuts, with and without bones. The distribution of the brine is smooth and even throughout the whole muscles of the meat. First, let's take a 3D tour around the basic version of the IMAX ECOline. The IMAX ECOline was designed to be simple, require little maintenance, and be easy to service and repair. The JBT SCHROEDER IMAX ECOline injector is a basic but versatile machine with a very attractive entry price. No compromises have been made on the well-known Schröder quality, ensuring low operating costs are guaranteed. Now let's take a deeper dive into the IMAX ECOline injectors. As the first steps to developing the new IMAX ECOline injectors, Schröder went out to the market to assess what was needed by meat processors throughout the world. And what we determined was that a low-cost, simple and reliable injector was missing in the marketplace. We asked customers what they wanted in an injector, and these resulted in the main features of the IMAX ECOline. As a side benefit of this market research, we came to understand that many injectors today come with features and additions that are rarely used by the low and mid-range processors, forcing them to pay for things they just don't need. With the introduction of the IMAX ECOline series of injectors, we have created the best injector in its class. Let's take a look why we feel that way. Very high injection distribution and accuracy. We have designed a new pump and needle configurations. After extensive research, Schröder developed a more efficient stitch pattern, covering a wider assortment of applications. This is what drives all the benefits that we spoke of at the opening of the webinar. We minimize the use of moving parts, improving reliability and lowering operation costs. We made it easier to operate. Pressure, speed and injection mode all controlled via a touch panel with simple icons, allowing people with different native languages to operate the machine. And we offer optional user and recipe management. We lowered the residual quantities of brine to less than 10 liters with the FT130, lowering waste and costs since brine should not be reused. This helps you prepare the proper amount upfront and keeps you from tossing away excess amounts at the end of production. Sophisticated hygienic design, fully welded construction with no locations for water or brine pooling. There are no hoses or pipes inside the machine, eliminating condensation opportunities. This better design provides a faster to disassemble needle and register block, often in less than 10 minutes, for more complete cleaning. Now, if all of that wasn't enough to convince you that the ECOline is a superior injector, let's look at some of the other features incorporated into the line. Let's start with what is an exciting innovation for injectors in this size class: the cleaning function. Push a button and the machine cleans itself, the needles, register block and transport rack. This programmable wash rinses the line automatically to remove up to 90% of existing brine in the injection area in as little as 10 minutes. Perfect for a cleaning between shifts and when changing to a different brine. For the smaller processes, this allows running multiple products or applications in the same day, because you won't spend as much time cleaning between applications. Other features include one-way and two-way injection. This provides better control of injection volume, an option for a tenderizer head, attractive entry price. Compact design requires minimum floor space, depending on the configurations as little as 3 square meters. Our box-in-box design for protecting the electrical system from water and humidity. Use of only one drive motor for injection and tenderizer head, as well as the transport rake. This reduces complexity and makes maintenance simpler. There are no unnecessary hoses, pipes or cables outside the machine. Multi-stage integrated or separate brine filtration unit. We'll talk about this a little later. Now I would like to go into a bit more in depth on some of the parts of the IMAX ECOline. First, let's talk about the injection area. We offer 3 different variations of this area based on your requirements. The first variation is for any type of meat, but only for boneless applications. This consists just of the register block and the scraper. This is the least expensive but also the most limiting in the applications you can handle. I'll talk little more about the scrapers in a few minutes. The second variation is also for all types of meats, and it is ideal for both bone-in or boneless applications. This variation includes the register block, the scraper, as well as the retraction block. The retraction block helps provide cushioning for the needles when they hit bone. Think of it like a shock absorber in your car. When you hit a bump, the tire travels up, but the car itself doesn't, unless you have a bad shocks. The retraction block allows the knead to travel back up and not be forced into the bone, which would lead to a broken needle. This is the most popular variant of the machine because it offers the most flexibility in applications. The third variation adds the tenderizing block and the tenderizing blades. This is a bit more of a specialized variation with applications for things like bacon or sliced sandwich meat to help improve the sliceability. This was born from larger, more industrialized mass production applications, where they want a uniform tenderization step to help consistency across meat in different conditions, and not necessarily something that a specialty butcher shop might be interested in. We offer it as an available variation of the machine to stay consistent with our philosophy of not making you pay for what you don't need. Now let's talk about the injection and tenderizer head with suspension block for one-way and two-way injection from 10 to over 90%. Different needle configurations always allow an optimum stitch pattern. Injection needles come in 2mm, 3mm or 4mm diameter. The tenderizer blade with a 4mm diameter ground tip helpful to eliminate jelly pockets in products like bacon. These are placed behind the injection needles to help distribute brine and avoid pockets of fluid into the product. Scraper position. Providing multi-stage adjustment for individual adaptation to different product heights up to 185mm. This is done with a quick hand adjustment. The drive. Robust and low maintenance electric gearbox. This single drive motor provides better mechanical synchronization of rake and injection head, ensuring a constant and optimal brine distribution. If the product is not moving correctly under the needles during the injection process, you can get areas of over-injection or under-injection, resulting in poor quality. The control panel. The control touch panel of the IMAX ECOline injector is available in two versions. The standard version offers the standard functionality, which is pressure and speed control and the cleaning and injection modes. These settings are available to the operator by the use of easy-to-understand icons and limit the risk of mistakes during the production. If you are looking for more functionality, such as a recipe management, a more advanced type of touch panel is available. Brine tubes. Most of the brine conducting parts are outside of the machine itself. This keeps a high level of hygiene and provides the best possible cleanability after the end of the process run. All brine hoses are made from food-grade materials and are fitted with the so-called dairy connections. They are assembled and pressed at the JBT SCHROEDER manufacturing plant to guarantee and maintain the highest standards. Almost all of the brine conducting parts are outside of the machine, ensuring in the very rare case of puncture or leak, brine does not float the machine, causing major issues. Being outside the machine also allows for easy and fast cleaning or changing. The pump. By positioning the brine pump horizontally at the lowest point of the device and by being able to drain the pump completely, the remaining brine can be totally removed. We also offer an optional tool, free quick release, catch, providing more time saving and easy change to different brine. Let's look at the three different offerings for the brine filtration. First is the standard version. This filtration system is used when working with a clear brine and when smaller batches of products with different brines will be injected. This comes equipped with a 3-stage filtration, filter plates with 1mm and 2mm filters, a filter net and an intake filter. This solution is space-saving and very compact. It requires the smallest amount of floor space. normally around 3 square meters. We also offer 2 optional brine basins. The FT130. The FT130 is the choice when the turnover of the brine is high and maintaining the brine is key. The FT130 is designed to filter very small particles, like that found coming from chicken meat. This helps to keep the needles free from any blockage. This unit holds up to 130 liters of brine. The UWF250. The UWF250 is chosen when processing requires a high turnover of brine, but when less brine maintenance is required. Able to hold up to 250 liters of brine, this is the largest volume option available, ideal for longer production runs that require a higher volume of brine. Here is a look at all 3 configurations side by side, where you can see layout and slightly larger space requirements for each of the systems. Now all of this leads to a very hygienic design. We provide great accessibility to all parts of the machine for easy cleaning and inspections. For example, the brine manifold can be opened by just loosening 2 screws. This also simplifies the changing of needles. The brine tubes can come with easy on, easy off connectors, allowing one-handed connection. Because of all these innovations and design improvements, the IMAX ECOline can be completely cleaned between shifts with no loss of production time. The IMAX ECOline was designed so installation can be performed out of the box by your own technical personnel without the support of an external technical installation engineer. And if you do need support, we are ready to support you via voice and video service. The benefits are two-sided. Less risk of COVID-19 exposure and no installation costs. It's plug and play. All of this results in optimal injection rate and accuracy, excellent brine distribution within the product, long operating times, flexibility, production capacity of 3, 4, 6 tons per hour, maximum food safety, maximum consistency for better final product and a happier customer. So as I draw the end of this presentation, I hope that you remember 3 things. The JBT Schröeder IMAX ECOline injectors are perfect for a wide variety of products, are very simple to operate and have very low use and maintenance costs. When you look the benefits of brine injection against the now much easier path to get started, you probably want to ask yourself, what am I waiting for? And with that, I just want to thank everyone again for joining us today. I know that your time is valuable, and I hope that you learned something today about improvements to brine injectors. With that, I'll turn it back over to John and we'll open the webinar to questions.